Welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa Caprio. Do you believe in magic? What if you were told that all you had to do was get a little creative and work a magic spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Here on Postcards to the Universe, we will share manifesting, tips, postcards, creativity, abundance, and prosperity. Here is your host, Melissa Caprio.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa, creating the life you crave. How are you guys doing today? I hope everybody is doing well. It's been a very interesting last few weeks. So I hope everybody is settled and getting grounded. So today I have a medicine woman and business owner, Natalie Viglione, with me. And she's going to join me here in just a minute. But we had started this recording, I think it was the night before Halloween, right? And we were in the middle. The internet went down. So, from where my producer was hosting us, so we had to reschedule the show. And thankfully, Natalie was nice enough to say yes, that she would come back so we could do this show properly. All right. So to my regulars, I just want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate you. It's been a crazy, like I said, last few weeks, and I'm so happy that you are here with me and listening, and it means the world to me. And if you are new to my show, I just want to say welcome. And I hope you enjoy the show. Just so that you know, all of my shows are put up in the archives on Om Times Radio, and you can find any show there with a description of who my guest is and what the show is about, and you can listen to it any time. And I also take each show and put it on my website, postcardstotheuniverse.com. And if you go to the podcast section, you could see any show and listen to it anytime. Same thing. I put a description of who I'm talking with and what the show is about. Also, just a little bit more about me if you don't know. I'm an author, I'm a photographer. I have a book. It's titled Postcards to the Universe: Harness the Universe's Power and Manifest Your Dreams. And what I do is I ask people to send me manifesting postcards. I photograph them. And when their manifestation shows up in the reality, I share their stories, either in the blog or I'll have people on my show. I'm working on other books, so you never know, right? So if you're interested in making a manifesting postcard, and it's a great time to start thinking about it because I cannot believe we're almost at the end of the year and we're going to be starting a new year. So what is it that you want to bring in your life in 2025? And if you want to make one to set an intention and you need help, you can always reach out to me, or you could go on postcardstotheuniverse.com. I have a section on how to create a manifesting postcard. It's kind of like a little mini vision board. And I also have the address of where to send it. And in the book, there's 30 stories that that I shared. I photographed the postcards and I shared their story in the book. So what's the book now is 5 years old. I cannot even believe 5 years has passed. And I re-photographed all of the postcards. So when I do a second edition, I'm going to put in the new photographs and have a new forward, maybe. I haven't decided that part yet. But I started doing readings from the book too, which you can find on all my social media platforms. So if you go to Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn, YouTube, you can see me reading the book. All right, so let me get to my guest who thankfully decided it was she. Natalie Viglione. She's a medicine woman and a business owner, and she's on a quest to help humans take back their power in their lives. She's a vessel for cosmic mother and a wisdom keeper of the authentic Celtic-Druid lineages, and she's a master herbalist in training. Natalie helps you to stop suppressing your gifts and illuminates the path for fellow indigos and starseeds to launch your mission on Earth so that more of us can serve as the pioneers in this massive paradigm shift of consciousness. She's here to help us reawaken magic by remembering our true divinity and open doors of natural healing. She founded the Disrupt Now programs and podcast and Team Goo, all held within the container called Sacred Soul Health Trust. It's time to dissolve the old to awaken to the new. And you can find out more about her if you go to her website. And I'm going to spell it for you since we're on radio. It's www.Natalie V as in Victor, IGLIONE.com. Welcome, Natalie. Thanks so much for coming back. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks for having
Oh
me
my
again.
God. Yeah. And I think it's really important now to talk because I never talk about politics and we're not going to today, but we were doing our show originally. It was before the election, right? And so
It
now we're
was, yeah.
past the election. So I feel like, and I love that you talk about this massive paradigm shift of consciousness in your work. And now it seems like we're even more polarized, right? Right at the
Yeah.
moment. I mean, it's only been just happened, so we're still kind of
Yeah.
assimilating to this energy right now. So, it's really important the kind of work that you're doing because we're all going through this journey together, whatever
Mhm.
side we're on, right? So,
Yeah.
well, first off, before we get into the deeper stuff, share a little bit about you, your background, and how you got into doing the kind of work that you're doing.
It's been obviously quite the meandering journey, as most of our stories.
Usually is. It usually is.
Usually. Yes. Very, very. So it's intriguing, but like if I were to put it all in a nutshell, I was really put here on this planet in this timeline to really bring truth back into the world. So there's been so much that has been hidden, and we need to reclaim all that has been hidden to find, how to bring true health and healing and wellness and vitality back into this realm. And when I look back, when I was a little girl, I was the truth speaker. I was the, I was not going to play games. Not to say I didn't play games like as a kid, but meaning like when I was getting something shoved down my throat as far as you must believe this and this is what you need to do, I would always be the, no. Why? Yeah. So here to question. And the biggest question that any of us can ever ask is why? And what? So that has been the journey. And the interesting thing is that, as I pushed myself into the world, it's interesting how I knew that my path was going to be so very, very different, but the world kind of brings you back. It kind of takes you back into this mainstream. If you feel like an outlier, it's hard to be an outlier.
Yeah.
So
it is.
There were moments, yeah, it very much is. And there were a couple of times when, I got very much pulled into the mainstream. For example, like I got married when I was in my early 20s and divorced in my early 20s. And then, I was in corporate for 17 years before I said yes to my mission. And, all of that experience and all of that wandering and that entire journey really is a juxtaposition against where I am today, which is literally going against the mainstream, revealing truths that have been hidden, and the path of the healing and all of those codes were always there percolating at the surface. And when I launched my mission, this was now 8-9 years ago at the time of this recording, and it just the evolution happens faster and faster and faster. And so, I'm taking on all of these modalities that, of course, are bringing back like a melding of primordial healing wisdom mixed with a modern day perspective, because what we are up against as humanity, as the earth, as the plants, the trees, all things, animals, is very different from 300 years ago, even 150 years ago.
Sure.
But so that's been the journey, and so now I'm in my mission, and it's unfolding very, very quickly, and it evolves far faster than when I was in corporate for 17 years before
Yeah.
I jumped in. So
Yeah, well, it does feel like time is moving exceptionally fast. It feels like
Mhm.
we're moving speed now. And I know I'm not the only one who feels that. When I just have conversations with anybody, we feel that. Um, so I do think there is an evolution happening, whether we like it or not. Right? It's
Mhm.
gonna happen to us. But I want to talk about a couple of things that I read in your bio that maybe people aren't familiar with the words that you use. So you use that you're a vessel for the cosmic mother. And I want to know what the I believe I know what it is, but for people listening,
Right.
what the cosmic mother is. And also, some people don't know the term indigos and star seeds. So, can you
Mhm.
share a little bit about the three of those three components of what you're talking about in your work?
Absolutely. So to hit the first aspect, I was born a um, very sensitive child, a very sensitive to all things, including energy child.
Me
I
too.
had amazing, beautiful dreams. So over the years, I realized, I was an empath, and then that realization unfolded into these other deeper or more cosmic layers, if we will. And so from the presence that is always and always has been within me as the Holy Mother lineage, um, essentially, serving as a vessel means, I look at it as there's angles of light
Mhm.
that are streaming into this world. And some of us have these innate codes that match this arc of light, this angel of light, we've said lots of words there's lots of words to say consciousness, essentially.
Right.
And my consciousness was always this beautiful, I now know that it's the lineage of what we've called the lioness lineage, the Rel lineage,
Mhm.
the goddess Brigid lineage,
Mhm.
because I was shown her in a dream like I was in at like 10 or 11 years old. Every night for years, I had the same scene, and it was basically this beautiful, loving cosmic self showing herself to me in female form with the
Wow.
white lions, in this very heavenly, if you will, image of this stairway that led into this beautiful city that looked like it
Mm.
was like in clouds. And so this replayed for me over and over and over. And some
Mhm.
years ago, that image came fully back into me going, oh, this was to be imprinted in my soul for the right time to be able to bring this all together. And so what I feel the Holy Mother presence is, and serving as a vessel is to speak these codes, the sacred or divine feminine codes
Mhm.
back into this realm. And there's many of us serving in this same capacity. But the beautiful aspect is we serve in our each unique ways. And so we're bringing back the authentic, the Holy Mother presence, the Sophianic consciousness, and we're basically bringing back reverence and respect for this divine feminine, restoring and reclaiming that power into this earth, because this has been, as we all know, a very imbalanced, out of harmony
Mhm.
realm, because the Holy Mother and the divine feminine aspects were uh, almost, hidden, and or
Mhm.
we could even say eradicated. Though they were
Right.
always there, it's just like hidden under layers of muck and filth, essentially. So it's like cleaning a swamp and seeing down below the swamp what's really there. And, as the Holy Mother, as the Cosmic Mother, Universal Mother winds that energy and frequency back into this world, it melds with the masculine. So this is how we're restoring harmony once again.
Yeah. Well, why do you think? Well, first, let's answer the second part. What are indigos and starseeds? And then I'll go back to asking you the question that came to me as you were just talking. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. So I look at starseeds as kind of this overarching family, if we will.
Okay.
And you come in with a very specific mission. This mission can look different depending on, your role, your gifts, things of that nature that you're coming in with. So starseeds, really being familial. And then when you get into the grain of indigos, and of course, a starseed can also be an indigo, but a starseed also doesn't need to be an indigo either. So it's just, again, another layer. And these are just words that we've put to these things. So it's more of like what I think is more of a feeling that comes through and just kind of shows you little bits and pieces of what that indigo spirit is sort of like. And there's different types of indigos. But if I were to give kind of like this overarching aspect on the indigo part, I would say, in the prophecies around the indigenous tribes of, many lands, but of course the First Nations tribes and such, the Rainbow Warrior prophecy. Many of us indigos are here to serve in like this guardian, protector, cleansing lineages of ancestral trauma, and being the warriors to stand up and say, no, this is not right. So standing up for injustices, coming in with kind of an edge, I would say. When I was little, my my parents were very like, oh my, who is this? Who is this child? But it's also coming in with a sixth dimensional consciousness frequency. So basically, the sixth chakra is highly activated. I call chakras stargates, for example, because it's opening a lens of energy to filter through. So at birth, indigos are born with this sixth DNA strand, like switched on, if you will. And so that's why often an indigo, and how, it's one way to recognize one, the kind of type of human, highly psychic from a child. So those gifts are just kind of like, oh, they're on, here I am. So that's a simple way that I would, from my perspective, define those.
Okay. So it sounds like certain souls incarnated with these spiritual wisdoms or gifts, or more open to help raise the consciousness of the planet, because everything that we're doing, everybody who's here, and I believe this, I mean, everybody's beliefs are different, but I believe we all chose to be here at this time collectively. Right.
Yeah.
So whatever one is going through, we're all going through, even though it doesn't seem that way. That's that's like the greater story. So there's a group of, like you said, we gave names, indigos and starseeds, who came onto the planet, poured into the planet to help raise the vibration of the earth, because we have to, right? Nothing stays the same. So either we grow or we decay and we die. That's just the way it goes. So why do you think that, and you mentioned this was my question when you were talking about the cosmic mother or the divine feminine, why do you that it's been so suppressed by this dominant masculine energy. And I don't mean men when I say masculine energy. It doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean it has to be men. So I just want to put that out there because there are many women who carry that oppressive, dominant, masculine energy. So
Yeah.
why do you
Yes.
feel like that is happening and what we're seeing especially right now? What do you think's going on globally?
So I feel, and this is what, through, I get most of my insights via dreams. So lately they've come through very different mechanisms because the energies have shifted
Mhm.
so much. Um, but this is since I was little, and so I have dream books, always going.
Right.
Um, but what I've taken down over many many years is that the cosmic mother, the holy mother aspect, has been suppressed, oppressed, um, hidden, veiled, pushed down. It's kind of like, again, I would say it like, you take code that was programmed into a realm and basically try to hide that code, and so the program isn't functioning properly. So we only have
Okay.
one half of the code, essentially, and that is this,
Got it.
toxic, uh,
Mhm.
patriarchal, because patriarchal, if the real definition has nothing to do with just the male dominated aspect of
Right.
patriarchy. That's one little tiny thing.
Part of it.
But patriarchy means, like, we've been separated from self. We've been
Mhm.
separated from the natural, organic, living world. We've been separated uh, from the God source, creator, call that universal field of all
Mhm.
that is, whatever we want. We've been separated from that divine source. And then what what we've heard for thousands and thousands and thousands of years is, there's like this male figure in the clouds that is like reigning
Right.
over the earth. And
Right.
so when I was little, and I remember we were going into, it was a religious household. I was like, no, this is wrong.
Mhm.
And I would
Yeah.
literally like combat with Sunday school teacher, because I was like, no, no, there's
Yeah.
something wrong, but I couldn't like put words to it. Anyway, long story short around that aspect is, if you take out, I just did a video recently about double harmony. So double harmony is how this world is harmonic. We are supposed to live in a very harmonic universe. That's literally what
Right.
human stands for. Harmonic universe, man. And that doesn't mean male. And so when you take out the Holy Mother, when you take out that half of the coding,
Mhm.
if you think about it, how imbalanced does that world get? I mean,
Yeah.
that's why there is no compassion in this
Mhm.
world. It's hard, it's rigid. When I
Yeah.
lived in corporate land, the stories that I could share. But
I'm
I
sure.
I lived in a male dominated, rigid, no room for an intuition boardroom, and it literally turned off my entire, organic essence
Mhm.
within me. And that's how, so it's like we're living in a one half world, and it's gotten us to this point. And I do believe it was absolutely by design, through an experience of hijacking.
Mm.
And that's how I've seen and been shown what has taken place. It,
Yeah.
part of my, or being an oracle or a seer, there's a lot of words, for
Mhm.
original creation. When I see original creation in visions, living in that harmonic universe is what we should be in. But beings that decided, we're going to create our own worlds. So we're going to hijack worlds and then try to siphon the energy and the light and the divinity of what
Mhm.
human means. And this is what we have to show for it. And there's a billion examples that we could give, but this is
Yeah.
how I've been shown.
Yeah, well, we can see it playing out, can't we? I
Oh, we
mean,
sure can.
wars and yeah, if you just look at
Yeah.
at war alone, and if you look at
Yep.
religion, I mean, especially if you're
Yeah.
Catholic, I'm a Reformed Catholic. I mean, come on, like
Right.
nobody
Yeah.
talks about
Exactly.
Lilith. Nobody talks about Lilith and Eve. She's the one that committed the original sin. So, like, we're already
Right.
starting off on not on a good foot, right? So
Exactly.
let's
Exactly.
just go from there. And you have to go to a priest to talk to God. That never sounded right to me. I never resonated with
Exactly.
that as a kid either. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and I was always the
Mhm.
one that questioned the
Mhm.
stories I was told. And I'm thinking, how can God love us, but then we're supposed to be afraid of God? Like, that doesn't make any sense
Yes.
to my child mind. So, I guess without knowing, I was always questioning too. And it just
Yep.
took me to have life experiences and maturity to finally go thinking deeper questions. And when I did is when answers started coming. So let's hold that thought
Exactly.
because I just looked at the clock. We're going to take our break now. And when we come back, we'll get more into our conversation. Stay tuned and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Conscious media for conscious minds. Om Times. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me the Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Om Times Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free, ascendinghearts.com.
Hi, I'm Melissa Caprio from Postcards to the Universe, Creating the Life You Crave. Do you believe in magic? What if I told you all you had to do was get a little creative and work a dream spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Well, guess what? I've got the spell for you. Postcards to the Universe, a global movement for manifestation, is a casting magical tool for you to use whenever you want. How does living in passion sound to you? Join me in my movement where you get to create in the magical playground. Let's think outside the box and do some playful conjuring. By casting out our desires with a manifesting postcard, we explore our hearts and allow the alchemy of our dreams to appear. And don't forget to tune in each week here on Om Times Radio with my show, Postcards to the Universe, Creating the Life You Crave at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I share tips on creativity, abundance, and prosperity, and you will be introduced to the coolest guests, trailblazers, mystics, and creatives who enrich our lives. Hi, and welcome back. I'm speaking with medicine woman and seer. Actually, she is a seer, Natalie Viglione. So, Natalie, I was thinking, so we kind of are tapping into the divine feminine. So, but let's like even go deeper. Like, let's talk about the magic that we are
Mm.
not tapped into, that we could so be tapped into, and
Mm.
creating a new earth, the earth where, like you said, the scales are balanced, where we can bring in this divine feminine energy to balance the divine masculine energy that seems to be like definitely not even, right? I'm
Yeah.
trying to be
Yeah.
nice about it. I'm trying to say it in a nice way.
Yeah, there's a lot
So,
of things that we could say, right?
yeah, right, exactly. But we don't want to do that. So what can each of us do because it always starts, it's always an inside job, right? Like they say, if you want to change the world, you have to change yourself, you have to heal yourself. So what can we each do in our own personal lives to bring more of that into our lives?
Yes. Um, so, a part of um, a reclamation, if you will, on my end, and
Mhm.
many that feel the call. I knew since I was a little because I would grab books about King Arthur and Queen Guinevere and
Mhm.
druids, and I was fascinated. And of course, now I know why. And
Of
I'm
course.
really tapping into this true druidic, the genuine druidic
Mhm.
lineage, that there is no, horrible things that were done. They were actually guardians and keepers of the code of this world,
Mhm.
keeping it in harmony. And so it was a lineage. It was a service to others lineage. And
Mm.
so, when I started Disrupt Now, um, that actually came through a dream,
Mhm.
even to the point where it showed me what the logo needed to look like, which is in the word disrupt, focus on the word up.
Mm.
And that's another way to look at that word, because often when people are like it's disrupting things, it's like this negative connotation.
Yeah.
But I think the magic is the
Mm.
disruption. We need to
Yeah.
disrupt what has
Yeah.
been happening in this world for probably, in my knowing, it's tens of thousands of years.
Right.
Disrupt what has been happening to get up and out of this miasma,
Mm.
to be able to see the divine magic that has always been there, as you are well tapped into this magic, feeling
Mhm.
and knowing,
Mhm.
and this divine magic has just been percolating underneath, hidden underneath all of this mm, poison, for lack of a better word. Um,
Mhm.
so maybe it's a right word. um, and if we can get rooted, a lot of when we speak of these aspects, this disruption is again this kind of connotation of up. But at the
Mhm.
same time, what I see is it's rooting, it's anchoring into this earth deeper, so that we can help Earth restore these natural codes again by cleansing our own bodies, disrupting our own paths to get out of the traps that are in this realm, the materialism, and all these kinds of things
Mhm.
that just keep us constrained and locked. And
Yeah.
rooting deeply into this earth to become one with the natural world. So, you know, something that I've brought back this year is solar calendar celebrations. This is just one beautiful way to get in touch with the organic time rather than
Mhm.
the false, like man made time. And it's the organic solar calendar. It's the eightfold wheel of the year, which is of a Celtic Druid, creation. But of course, it wasn't just Celtic Druid. It was literally, the entire world. You can find this written into Mayan culture and
Mhm.
cultures all
Yeah.
over the world, right? And so it's, this is just one way, and celebrating these sacred and once sacred and holy days. This is, to me, this is one more way, like as we're disrupting, getting ourselves, disentangled from all of these mechanisms and systems,
Mhm.
as we're simultaneously doing that, tapping into this organic, natural living world again, hugging trees, quite literally,
Mhm.
seeing what's really happened, and taking responsibility to be the ones to actually fix and heal this world, because that's really what we're here to do, is even through healing our own bodies, because we're energetically connected into this earth planetary being, that we are this of the same everything. We actually help cleanse the earth simultaneously. So these are
Mm.
just,
Oh,
to me, some deeper, bigger, more profound ways to to assist.
yeah. No, I really like that, and it's funny that you said that about hugging trees because that's like people make fun. Oh, you're a tree hugger. Yeah, actually, I
Right.
am, and I'm
Exactly.
going to tell you something. I've always been this way. When I see trees cut down, it really hurts me. It
Mm-hmm.
really does, and it always has, even when I was a
Yeah.
kid. And I
Same.
feel, which most people would look at me like you're crazy, but there's something about trees that I just am so connected to.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And of course we need them, right? Of course we do. So how can we, because now we're like totally digital world, right? Everything's digital. Our phone, our iPad,
Mm.
our television, we don't even have to pick it up anymore. We could just say something out loud and the house turns on if we want, right? So
Right.
how we need to consciously connect with nature, and I know you're doing that a lot with herbs too. So you want
Mm-hmm.
to share a little bit about like working with the herbs and how we can connect more with nature, and what that really does to our bodies and our spirit to help
Mm.
raise the vibration.
Yeah. Yeah. What I've doing these sacred, coming back into ritual again, which is
Mhm.
just ritual really is is reverence for something,
Of course.
honoring the existence of something, right? And so
Right.
these sacred holy days, they're not religious. They've been taken into religious connotations, right?
Yeah.
But really, what when you scrape all of that, again, these are just layers of stuff that have nothing to do with what these days were. These were times in throughout a year where you can actually tap into a very specific energy in the earth that's connecting
Mhm.
with
Right.
source. And when you get to that organic energy and you can feel that organic energy, what it does to your being is it puts you into this experience of anchoring deep within your own body, anchoring deep
Mhm.
within to this earth, yet feeling so infinite and expanded by connecting into source that we then are serving as the actual what a human is, which is a bridge between what we say is like what quote unquote the heavens and
Mhm.
the earth. And so we become those bridges. And when we can feel that organic energy, and obviously the best way to do this would be to be able to come together with people in these kinds of experiences. But we're all over the world, and it's just a very different world. And so we can even use these technologies to connect.
Sure.
And
Mhm.
even if we can tap into these experiences together, that really lends to what I've experienced is a complete shift in awareness where you're no longer tapping. I don't know what day or time it is. I know where
Mhm.
the sun is, the organic.
Mm.
It's about solar, feminine, and masculine. It's tapping back into the solar, life-giving essence of the world. It's like you move into this organic time, and what that does is it takes us out of this um, very rigid way of being and feeling and like living in a day where, of course we have to be somewhere by specific times and all of that. But even if for like a brief amount of time, 8 times a year, for example, like we step out of it. And what it does
Mhm.
over time is we are literally healing our bodies, getting out of that rigidity and moving more into what is really the feminine, which is more of a flowing aspect. So,
Mhm.
it's forging through fire and flowing through water and melding those again. And that's also really affecting our nervous system. So when we get
Oh
into
yeah.
herbs, when I get into my
Mhm.
vibrational medicine work, we're
Mhm.
working with flowers, the spirits of
Mhm.
flowers through flower
Yeah.
essences. We're working with the spirits of the herbs to come into our
Mhm.
bodies and to assist us to really the old ultimate goal, the way I see all of these elements working together, is to bring harmony within, because then we can bring harmony without.
Yeah. Well, it makes so much sense to me. I mean, these are the ancient rituals and the ancient medicines, right? Right?
Yes, yes.
And it's funny to me because we talk about rituals because I love rituals. And listen, I don't mean to, I'm not trying to trash on the Catholic Church, but I just kind of was a Catholic. So, back when I was a kid and going to Catholic school, and I'm just thinking, doesn't people realize that when they go to church on Sunday and they take the body of Christ, that's a ritual? Like that's a
Right.
ritual, right? But there seems to be a disconnect when they see women out in the forest picking talking to the trees and working with the herbs, and then you're because I'm
Yes.
thinking, okay, Easter, hello. Like, what are we talking about here? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I know, but what do you mean you celebrate the summer solstice or the winter solstice? I'm like, oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know what to say.
I
It's
know.
it's like you said, there was a system that came in that took
Hmm.
that and changed it and started to control it and instilled fear.
Yeah.
And then it made if you didn't follow them, then you were the other, and the other
Hmm.
is who is scary, and the other
Yeah.
is who is dangerous, and the other needs to be destroyed. And we
Yeah.
need to get out of that. And
Yeah.
that's what people like you do and I do in our own ways by talking and having these
Exactly.
conversations, right? Hmm.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's like, I love it's even, I mean, your work, Postcards to the Universe, is literally a manifestation,
Mhm.
magic, spell that
Mhm.
to bring about a different trajectory. That's what ritual. I think where we've gotten is in a very confused world where religion, dogmatic religion,
Mhm.
I should
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
took over this organic
Right.
spirituality, and
Yes.
it layered it with confusion and fear. And
Yeah.
so what we're doing now is trying to strip the confusion and fear away. And people have lived in that. Again, I love the word miasma because it is
Mhm.
so perfect for what this is. It's like like noxious fumes, right?
Yeah.
That have
Yeah.
like put a like a I say low magic or vile magic,
Mhm.
that has taken over the organic magic. So all these stories about witches being
Mhm.
evil and I think and I feel and I know that that was an inversion of the truth, right?
Mhm.
And so we have all these inversions. It's taking this organic intention of something, literally flipping it upside down, inverting it, and then creating the antithesis of divine
Yeah.
aspect to it. So if there were women that got caught into that low magic or that black magic is
Mhm.
what people say. I don't like to use that term because I don't know, it just doesn't resonate with me, between black and
Yeah.
white kind of stuff,
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Mhm.
The world's a little more complex
We'll
than
say
black and white.
maybe dark magic, or I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
low vibrational magic when
Yeah,
you're
right.
doing work to hurt and harm. That's what you don't
Exactly.
want to be
Yes.
doing, right? Mhm.
No, exactly. And so, if that all transpired, of course, that being brought into that low vibrational aspect would start flipping what was actually light and love magic, divine
Mhm.
magic. And
Divine
so people are
magic.
very afraid. Again, it's
Yeah.
fear. Like anything, they see symbology and they like freak out, and you're like, no, 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 no. Let's get back to the core of the truth about, and it's like again, it's like a reclamation mission on every single layer, even simple things like symbology. And it's a tough job, you know, trying to, I guess, re-educate or bring back truths that have been called occult, which just means hidden, you know. So it is a tough job because we are looked at like, I mean, the looks that I've gotten over my lifetime.
Oh, I'm
Oh my
sure.
God. Just like you know, I'm sure. You know, look at you like
Yeah.
you have 45 heads and you're
Yeah.
what? What, you
Yeah.
know? So there's that.
Yeah, especially well, now with the show and I'm very open and I share like I have like one of my spirit animals is a dragon that I see every day. You know what I mean? And people are like,
Mhm.
yeah, sure. Okay, she's nuts. She's lost it. And I'm just like, okay, that's fine. Hey, listen, I'm happy with the way I'm experiencing my life. So, you know, that's all I have to say.
Exactly.
Truthfully, to me, it's just if you can connect to divine source and call it whatever you want you don't need to be told how to do it
Yeah.
by somebody else. Like you don't need
Yeah.
to go through this person over here to connect. You just have to figure out what works for you. And the
Yeah.
wonderful thing is we're all individuals and we all get to choose how we want to do that and how we
Mhm.
want to connect. And, you know, nature to me is divine source. That's why I
Yeah.
love forests so much, being in a forest. I
Yeah.
feel a closer connection to God, you know,
Yes.
or yeah, the universal divine. You know, other
Yep.
people it's the ocean. It's the you know, and it used to be the ocean for me, but it's changed, which is
Mhm.
interesting. And I think we
Same
grow and
actually for
change.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we grow and change. So, for anybody who's listening who wants to maybe start a daily practice and start figuring out maybe a certain ritual or something they can do on a daily basis that can help them tap into that, what would you recommend?
Yeah. So, well, I think that a really hardcore truth that I think that that many don't want to really admit to yet.
Mhm.
I'm one to bring the messages through, whether someone likes it or not. But
Mhm.
we have to protect ourselves and our energy.
Yes.
And, you know, when you go into folklore around herbs, for example, because I'm learning from what I call a Jedi Master Herbalist, he's
Okay.
amazing. Anyway, you know, going into folklore, in every part of this world, you know, there were herbs and rituals to protect your energy. And these are
Mhm.
daily practices that people did. And
Yeah.
so I feel, you know, very called, and I've gone on this journey to really share, you know, protect your energy.
Yeah.
This can be done through, you know, many ways. This is just as simple as meditating and really building a force field around your auric body, your
Mhm.
energetic bodies,
Mhm.
and your home
Yeah.
and your greater region. You know, you just every day. I do it twice a day when I wake up
Mhm.
and when I go to bed. It's like spiritual cleansing, if you will.
Yeah.
And then, you know, another thing that I think is a very valuable practice is having that ritual to kind of go through, you know, we chakras have become this like new age speak where you can find
Yeah.
things in gift shops and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the truth of the reality of what they really are, it really is the health of your body because
Yeah.
there's your endocrine system. The endocrine system
Mhm.
turns on or off your nervous system in the relax or, you know, fight or flight. So it's all connected and
Yeah.
it's very vital. And so, you know, in my vibrational medicine work with people, what I love to share is that, you know, when you're going through your body, like if you're doing your
Mhm.
meditation or whatever daily, go through emotions. You know,
Mhm.
get into that astral body and really begin to feel into where are you carrying extra um, emotional baggage, because if
Yeah.
we can purge and cleanse our astral bodies, and of course you can add beautiful things like flower essences. I'm a flower essence practitioner, so I adore working with them because the benefits are like unbelievable. It's the same with homeopathic remedies, of course. But this is just another way to really tap into where there's blockages, because if the water inside of our bodies, the sacred fluids, the sacred waters can't flow because there's blockages stopped up, this is where, dis-ease within the body begins.
Yeah, it starts to
And
manifest.
exactly. So, this is just another layer to a daily practice, is really, really figuring out where there are stuck emotions. That's a very powerful practice. And I'll give an example. When I was in corporate and my divine feminine sacred, the energy within me was literally, it was like I called it my secret power, because I couldn't use it during the day. It was when I left. And that's crazy, but that's the way it was. So the toxic I was toxic in the masculinity. And I got very sick, like to the point where I was knocked the ground when I left. And so my reclamation journey of the health and vitality and well-being in my body is reflected in the work that I now do to assist others. And I had a lot of unresolved anger because dealing with the corporate life, I mean, you talk about rigid, So there's a lot of different ways that emotions can hide in there. So, protecting our energy and working with your emotional body, your astral body, and really cleansing and purging that daily, I think, are two powerful practices that have really changed my connection even to the living natural world. Because then, when we go and we build, like a little altar for the fall or, whatever, and we're sitting in nature, we're with our favorite trees in the forest, it allows us to actually connect and hear and listen better, because there's more. It's like the frantic energy isn't blocking messages or blocking insights. You're more clear. So those kinds of things actually help us connect back into the organic world in a much more profound way, because the connection is more clear.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can hear because we're always receiving messages. It's just most of the time we can't even hear them because we're so inundated with so many other things. So it's being blocked. So
Yep.
yes, those are wonderful ways to open yourself up and working with somebody like you. So I'm going to tell people now that you do work with clients, and so share a little bit about your podcast and your programs and where people can get in touch with you if they want to work with you.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So the podcast is called Disrupt Now Podcast. Actually, this was the first thing I started after I had the dream. So I didn't really know where it would go after that. It was just like, disrupt the status quo. Yes. Okay, let's go. And
Right.
so I'm in the second season, and it's second season is called New Earth Magic. So very in line with you as well. And, beautiful conversations. And lately, I've been bringing on guests to really talk about the nuts and bolts of what's wrong in this world. So really bringing, some truths out there. It's been an exciting season so far. I think I'm on the 16th episode for this season, but I have like over 170 episodes at this point.
Wow.
Something like that. But then, that's been a really fascinating journey, having all these beautiful conversations, right? But I do work one-on-one with people. I do vibrational medicine work with people. And, that it's a pretty, basically it's just looking at every layer inside and out, down to like how the minerals in the body, are they balanced or are they imbalanced? And well, in this world, you can guarantee that they're imbalanced just because of many facets. I also help people who are, called into this sacred mission work, as I called it. This is like those of us that really have missions here to help humanity in some way, big or small, doesn't matter. I help humans that run those kinds of missions to get more clear in their
So people can, I don't
strategies.
mean to, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but I just looked at the clock. So they can find you at your website, natalieviglione.com? Is that the best way for
Yes,
people
yep,
to reach you?
you
Okay,
bet.
because I just looked and I'm like, oh my God, we're coming to the end of our time
We
together,
are.
and it's just been so fun. Thank you so much, Natalie, for joining me today, and I really loved our conversation. All right, everybody, thank you for listening to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa, creating the life you crave, and I'm wishing everyone a wonderful week filled with joy, abundance, and love. Peace.